fazendo filme.
Well, one way to think about it is in terms of pleasure. Most people get pleasure from watching fiction if it's good, a lot of pain if it's bad. It's not as clear people get the same pleasure from watching documentary. So one question is, why do you watch something that may not give you the same pleasure as watching Cary Grant or Scarlett Johansson in a role? That's where, I've written about the idea of epistophilia, that there may be a pleasure of learning and knowing things. When you see something about the world that you didn't know before, there may be not only a sense of, oh, now I know something, but that it feels good, that I actually feel some form of pleasure from having met somebody, like in the clip I showed today of Ofim and the man from the Northeast who's talking about his life. He's quite amazing, and it's memorable to have had a chance to hear him talk, even though it's not a, what will happen next fiction. There's also the sense with documentary that I think, that most of the time you feel like you're being addressed, that somebody is talking to you. It's like getting an envelope with your name on it saying, here's a letter to me. Whereas a fiction, it's more like walking down the street and looking in a window and saying, oh, there's some interesting things going on inside that window. I wonder what it is. And you start looking in. And the filmmaker does things to draw your attention. They light inside, they have people doing things, they have a speaker so you can hear them talking. You may recognize some of the people, say it's a bar, as actors that you've seen before. So you say, oh yeah, there's Meryl Streep. Oh, what's she doing? So it's like looking into something that's not part of your life on the street, but related and interesting. And the documentary is like you're still walking down the street and you see two people arguing. And you can stand there and they're right in front of you and they turn to you and say, what do you think? And do you know anything more about this? And that idea of being involved because the film's addressing you. It's talking about something that it wants you to be aware of that's in the world, I think is part of what draws us in. It's different from pleasure, but it may be a pleasure of recognition that it feels good to know someone wants to talk to me and get me involved in something about the world that concerns them. Yeah. Well, when you look at documentaries over time, from 30s to now, they've always been marginal, like the avant-garde. They don't get to theaters too often. There have been periods and policies